There are many Z-frames to choose from. For this window with casing, we will be using the Bullnose Z-frame. We will install this frame using the 3 fastener types mentioned earlier. Once you have your frame laid out on the floor, assemble the top frame to the left frame using the Hoffman key. A flat, hard surface, like this plywood here, is ideal to accomplish this. Note the flat end of the Hoffman key and the round end of the Hoffman key. The flat end will be placed down on the hard surface. The rounded portion will go into the frame. Place the flat end down, place the rounded end into the frame, and simply press down. Bring the top frame to the Hoffman key and press down. Once you have the frames flush to each other, you can repeat these steps for the other 3 remaining corners. Now that the frame is assembled, let's center it in the window. We'll center it in the window using our shims from the back side. Now that we've placed the frame in the window, we'll continue to center it. Using your shims, simply place one below and one on top until the frame is centered. Once the frame is centered, top to bottom, we can now center it left to right. First, we'll start by using the nail gun. It's the fastest and the most efficient. We're going to start by nailing in the upper left-hand corner. Now that we've nailed the left top corner, we'll now show you how to pre-drill using the trim head screw. First, you take your drill with your drill bit and simply place a hole and go back. Be very careful not to countersink. Now we can go ahead and switch our change out to the trim head top and place our trim head screw into the pre-drilled hole. As you can see, the trim head automatically countersinks itself. The beauty of the trim head screw is there's minimal touch-up. Now that we've installed the trim head screw, let's install the bugle head. First, we'll need to pre-drill and countersink. Countersinking can be done 2 ways. You can countersink flush with the frame, or you can countersink it so that the screw head countersinks and then you can fill that hole. First, we'll install it flush. Simply turn your change out around, place your screw in the hole that you pre-drill, install until it is flush with your frame. Or you can countersink it a little more so that the screw head will countersink itself into the frame and you can fill this hole. However, this requires much more touch-up than either of the 2 previous fasteners that we installed. Now with the frame centered in the opening, go ahead and nail the left at the top. We'll move to the right. We'll level the frame. Now that the frame is level, we'll nail the left. Now we can place our panels in. Simply remove the protection of the wall, place the left panel in the opening, and insert the hinge pins. Remove the protection of the wall, place the right panel in the opening, and insert the hinge pins. Now that the hinge pins are inserted, check and make sure the frame is level and even across the top. Now that the frame is even across the top, we can open the panel, holding the left panel tight to the wall. We can now secure the bottom. Recheck it. Make sure it didn't move on you. Again, we're still even across the top. Our lines are good. We can go ahead and nail the opposite side. Double check. Continually checking the window is a very good idea. Making sure that it's even across the top and bottom constantly. Now that we've accomplished this, we can place one of our shims inside the window here to make the top even. Nail it in. Now we can nail the bottom frame, making sure that the reveal is the same. Go ahead and nail it. Once that's nailed, check, make sure nothing moved. Our reveals are all the same all the way around. Now that the reveal is even all the way around, we can finish by nailing above and below each one of the hinges. This will secure our frame to the window. If need be, place a shim in the middle of the window and nail it. And do the same on the opposite side. The reason you would want to place a shim behind there is so that the frame doesn't bow out on you. Now that it's nailed off, all of our reveals are even. We can now do the touch-up.